In this video, we will travel across Zimbabwe's beautiful provinces. We will meet the main Shona clans, where they live, what makes them unique, and the must-see places in each area. Whether you are Shona, Zimbabwean, or just love African culture and history, you will learn something new. Let's begin. So I'll start with a quick overview of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is a land of stunning landscapes, from high mountains and waterfalls to ancient stone ruins, wild national parks, and big rivers. The country is divided into 10 provinces. The capital is Harare in the north. Shona-speaking people form the largest group in Zimbabwe, about 70 to 80% of the population. They are not one single clan, but several closely related clans with different dialects of the Shona language. These clans include the Zezuru, Korekore, Karanga, Manyika, Ndau, and Kalanga. I will talk about Kalanga later just to explain why I've included Kalanga here. Over centuries, history, migration, wars, and the environment have shaped where each group lives today. Now let's explore them one by one. Zezuru, the central heart of Zimbabwe. The Zezuru are often called the Central Shona group. They mainly live in 3 provinces: Mashonaland East, Mashonaland West, Mashonaland Central. This is the area around Harare and surrounding farmlands. The Zezuru have strong historical and political influence in modern Zimbabwe. Many national leaders have come from Zezuru backgrounds. Their dialect is widely understood and forms the base of standard written Shona. Must-see places. Great Zimbabwe, historically linked, though the main ruins are further south. Lake Chiwero, a beautiful lake near Harare, perfect for boating, fishing, picnics, and relaxing in nature. The Zezuru area is known for fertile soils, busy cities, and a mix of modern life with strong traditional values. Korekore, the northern guardians. The Korekore live mainly in the northern parts of Zimbabwe, Mashonaland Central, parts of Mashonaland West. They are known for their rich spiritual traditions and close connection to the land and ancestors. Their dialect has a distinctive tone. Must-see places. Mana Pools National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site along the mighty Zambezi River. It is famous for walking safaris, canoeing, and seeing huge herds of elephants, buffalo, lions, and many other wild animals up close. The floodplains and acacia trees make it one of Africa's most beautiful wilderness area. The Korekore region feels wild and spiritual, perfect for those who love nature and peace. Karanga, the southern keepers of history. The Karanga are one of the largest Shona groups. They live mainly in Masvingo province, parts of Midland province. They have very deep historical roots. Many historians believe the Karanga and related groups built the great stone cities of the past. Must-see places. Great Zimbabwe National Monument. The most important. These massive stone ruins, built between 1100 and 1450 AD, are the largest ancient stone structure in sub-Saharan Africa and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The name Zimbabwe actually comes from these ruins, meaning houses of stone. Walking among the great enclosure and the hill complex feels like stepping back into an ancient, powerful kingdom. The Karanga area is known for its rolling hills, cattle farming, and strong cultural pride. Manyika, the people of the Eastern Highlands. The Manyika live in Manicaland province in the east. Their culture has been influenced by closeness to Mozambique. They have a unique dialect and beautiful traditions in music and dance. Must-see places. Nyanga National Park, Zimbabwe's oldest national park with cool, misty mountains, pine forests, and Zimbabwe's highest peak, Mount Nyangani. Mutarazi Falls, the tallest waterfall in Zimbabwe with breathtaking views as water drops over 700 meters. The scenic Eastern Highlands with tea estates, hiking trails, and fresh mountain air. The Manyika region feels like a different world, green, cool, and full of natural beauty. Ndau, the southeastern people. The Ndau live in the southeastern part of Manicaland province, around Chipinge and Chimanimani. They have strong cultural links with Mozambique and a very distinct identity, dialect, and traditions. Must-see places. Chimanimani Mountains and National Park. Dramatic granite peaks, deep gorges, clear rivers, and waterfalls. It is a paradise for hiking, rock climbing, and adventure tourism. The mountains feel sacred and powerful. The Ndau area is known for its rugged beauty and resilient people. Kalanga, the southwestern group. The Kalanga mainly live in Matabeleland South Province and parts of Matabeleland North. Important to note, the Kalanga are often discussed separately. Their language, Kalanga, is part of the wider Shona language family, sometimes called Western Shona, but it is quite different from other Shona dialects. Some people see them as fully Shona, while others view them as a closely related but distinct group. This shows how complex and overlapping identities can be in Zimbabwe. We must respect all viewpoints. The Kalanga have a rich pre-colonial history and built impressive stone structures. Must-see places. Kami Ruins, a UNESCO World Heritage Site near Bulawayo. These stone ruins from the 15th to the 17th century were once an important capital after Great Zimbabwe. Matopo Hills, Matopo National Park, another UNESCO site with strange balancing rocks, ancient rocks paintings, some over 10,000 years old, and a very spiritual feeling. Sisu Roads is buried here, but the hills are sacred to local people. The Kalanga region mixes beautiful hills, history, and cultural strength. Important cultural note: Zimbabwe's clans and provinces are not rigid boxes. Identities are complex and overlapping because of centuries of migration, marriages, wars, and movement. For example, people move between provinces for work, marriage, or better land. Many families have mixed clan backgrounds. The Kalanga question especially shows that history and language can be interpreted in different ways. What matters most is respect. Every group, Zezuru, Korekore, Karanga, Manyika, Ndau, Kalanga, and others, has contributed to Zimbabwe's rich culture, music, food, and story. We celebrate the diversity instead of dividing people. Why this matters? Understanding Shona clans and provinces help us appreciate language as an identity. The way people speak connects them to their ancestors and home. Culture as pride. Traditions, totems, music like mbira, and stories keep communities strong. Tourism as appreciation. Visiting these places supports local economies and helps preserve history and nature for future generations. When we learn about each other's roots, we build a stronger, more united Zimbabwe. Before I round off, let me just briefly share with you 5 frequently asked questions in reference to Shona clans, their culture, origins, and must-see places. So question number 1 is, why did critics once say Great Zimbabwe could not have been built by Africans without mortar? For many years, especially during British colonial rule, European archaeologists and historians refused to believe that Shona ancestors built Great Zimbabwe. The massive stone walls were made with dry stone masonry, huge granite blocks fitted perfectly together without any mortar or cement. Critics claimed it was impossible for local African people to create such advanced structures. Instead, they invented stories that it was built by the Phoenicians, Egyptians, Arabs, or even the Queen of Sheba. This was mainly because of racist beliefs at the time. They did not want to accept that black African civilization could build large, sophisticated cities. Today, modern science and archaeology have proved them completely wrong. Excavations show the builders were Shona, especially Karanga ancestors, between 1100 and 1450 AD. The soapstone Zimbabwe birds, local pottery, and oral traditions all confirm it. Great Zimbabwe is now proudly recognized as one of Africa's greatest achievements and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Coming to question number 2, what are the main differences between the Shona clans? The Shona are not one single group. They are made up of several clans within their own dialects, traditions, and histories. Zezuru, Central, speak the most common dialect, strong political influence around Harare. Karanga, South, one of the largest groups, deep connection to Great Zimbabwe, known for strong cultural pride. Korekore, North, rich spiritual traditions, live near Mana pools. Manyika, East, unique dialect, influenced by Mozambique, love the cool eastern highlands. Kalanga, Southwest, slightly different language, Tichi Kalanga, rich history with Kami ruins and Matopo hills. The differences come from centuries of migration, environment, and local customs, but all Shona clans share the same language family, totems, ancestor respect, and Mbira music. Question number 3. Which Shona clan built Great Zimbabwe? Most historians and archaeologists agree that the Karanga and related early Shona groups were the main builders of Great Zimbabwe. The ruins sit right in the heart of traditional Karanga territory in Masvingo province. Oral stories, the style of stonework, and artifacts like the famous Zimbabwe birds all point to Karanga ancestors. That is why the Karanga section in the video gives Great Zimbabwe special attention. It is their greatest cultural treasure. Question number 4. Why is the Kalanga group sometimes treated differently from other Shona clans? The Kalanga have a very rich history and built impressive stone cities like Kami ruins, but their language Kalanga is quite different from other Shona dialects. Because of this, some people classify them as Western Shona, while others see them as a closely related but separate group. This debate is common in Zimbabwean culture and history. The important thing is respect. The Kalanga have contributed greatly to Zimbabwe's heritage, especially in Matabeleland South and the Matopo Hills. In the video, we explain both sides so everyone feels included. The last question, number 5. How are the Shona clans connected to Zimbabwe's provinces today? The provinces we see on the map today were created by colonial rulers, but Shona clans have lived in their areas for hundreds of years. Zezuru, Mashonaland provinces, Central, Korekore, Northern Mashonaland, Karanga, Masvingo and Midlands, Manyika and Ndau, Manikaland East, Kalanga, Matabeleland South. People still feel strong pride in their clan and home province. However, modern life means many families now live in cities or have mixed backgrounds. Understanding these connections help us appreciate Zimbabwe's beautiful diversity, plan better trips, and respect local culture when we visit places like Great Zimbabwe or Mana pools. Now is your turn. Which Shona clan do you belong to, or which province feels like home to you? Did I miss any special place or story from your area? Tell me in the comments below. Share your clan name, your favorite memory, or a must-see spot I should add next. Your stories make this channel richer. If you enjoyed this journey across Zimbabwe, please like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos on Shona culture and heritage. Share this video with friends and family. Let's keep Zimbabwe's beautiful stories alive. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care. Please dzokai mudzoke mangwana mudzoke tirizokurukura tichitaura tese.